All right, we're going to be covering the fixed range volume profile tool. This can help us understand pretty much in any snippet of price action where the most volume is traded and also where the least amount of volume is traded, because both are very equally as important. So first off, we're just going to learn how to use this tool and where do we pull it from. So it's right here, it's the fixed range volume profile, and we want to understand key areas in the market where price was moving, whether this is a range, whether this is an uptrend, just key areas. We can also do this time-based. Maybe we want the daily volume profile, the weekly volume profile, or even a session volume profile. In this case, we're just going to go over some key areas on the weekly chart on Ethereum where I think would make sense to pull these volume profiles. So the first going to be this little consolidation chop area after price has a violent move to the upside. So we see that Ethereum has a massive move to the upside, and then we start to chop around and consolidated it. Then also after this big move to the downside, we have this uptrend right here that's pretty steady before actually expanding higher. So we can mark this out as well, like so, because this is going to be the lead-in to this next range that we form right here on Ethereum. We have this clear range here, and then we have this uptrend after. So these are the three areas that we're going to pull these volume profiles from and sort of understand how they can help us read price action. So in order to do this, you just pull it from the whole range or whole area that you are doing. It's right here, so we'll select from right here to right here, select from right here to right here, and we will select from right here to right here. So these are our volume profiles of each box. So this specific price action is going to show us where the volume was traded here, and this box is going to be all the volume traded within it, and then same for right here. So what is this telling us? Well, we can see that we get some bars. Yours might not look like this, but it's okay, you'll still understand it. You get like these lines right here. And the further out they come is going to be the more volume traded, and the lower in they are, like we can see this is very shallow right here, is going to be very, very low volume, and then up here is going to be very, very high volume. This is called the point of control, this red line, and the two blue lines are the value area high and value area low. So in between the value area low and value area high is where like the majority chunk of all the volume and whatever you're looking at is being traded. The point of control is where the most volume is being traded though out of any specific point within this volume profile. At the point of control, you can expect a lot of consolidation. There's going to be a lot of buyers and sellers there, and price is going to usually consolidate in those areas. Now, I like to pull the volume profiles for high time frame areas that have already happened and then use them when we come back down to retest them. A lot of people like to trade volume profile directly within an area, but I personally like to use it as confirmations in another area of price action. We'll get into that, and then we'll also go over how we can use these on the low time frame. So we see that after this sort of chop area right here, we have a move down. And then this creates this new sort of range right here on Ethereum. So what I would do is pull the volume profile of this previous area and see if price is going to reclaim within the value area low in the point of control, or if it's going to start to reject. So we can see that this zone right here of the point of control and value area low was a key area where Ethereum ultimately was struggling to break through, and then we flipped the zone and turned it into pretty much a support area. But we can see that this previous value area high and point of control acted as resistance. So we have literally the same thing for this zone right here. If we go onto it, we see that when Ethereum dumped pretty hard into this prior, losing this range right here, coming down, we see that the value area high of this previous area did get respected. We bounced a little bit lower, sweeping out this swing point right here. We know about swing points, but then we ultimately just wicked about under it and then came up with some strong candles, indicating that price does not want to reclaim within this previous area's value area high, and instead we're bouncing. So it was a key area of support in this instance. Same thing right here, we have our value area high where price was tested above it, which it failed to close. We had some pretty weak candles up here, and then price ultimately fell back under the value area high before moving downwards. We can see this point of control. There was a lot of consolidation, a lot of buyers and sellers in this mid region of this range. And then the value area low acted as great support and resistance. So we can see how the value area low acts as good SR levels right here. We were using it as support, support, resistance, resistance, support, support. So we can see how these previous pulls of volume profiles can help us read new price action when we come back down into those levels. So a quick example is like if we have a range right here and we lose the range, when we come back up to retest this area, we can pull the volume profiles in this region. This is obviously just going to tweak out, but okay. We can pull the volume profiles in this region and see that if price is coming back up and rejecting off the value area low, then that means that price might start just continuing more to the downside. But if we get some candle closures above it and show that we are going to accept through it, then price might want to continue upwards. So that's how I kind of use the volume profile tool on the high time frames within crypto. But I'll also show you how it works very, very well for the low time frame, whether that's being a session or just a low time frame area in the market. So you can see right here on Ethereum, we have the swing low that we put in the market, and then we started this uptrend. We can pull the volume profile from this to this, and we see we have all of this information. Sorry. We have a very big volume gap here. I didn't really go too into depth on this, but we can see that there is a volume gap here, meaning very, very low amounts of volume were traded through here. And we can see that this zone acted as not support or resistance, but a zone where price just sort of flew past it. Because if there's not a lot of volume through it, it's going to be very easy to get through. Whereas we can see this point of control had a lot of chop through it, and price was not giving a clear direction because we have a lot of buying and selling going on in this region. So now that the volume gap right here has been surpassed, we can maybe expect this to become another area where price might want to come into before moving higher. We can see this coincides with some fair value gaps. We can see it coincides with the value area high before continuing higher potentially on Ethereum. So volume gaps are areas where price will run through pretty quickly and then sometimes come back to fill them in again. And you can notice that they line up a lot of the time with fair value gaps because they're quick moves in the market, very strong impulses. Now we can even go, let's go into the gold chart and do a session volume profile. So we can go into the 15-minute chart in gold, and we can view where the New York session opened today, draw out our volume profile, and see what that tells us. So 9:30, so this is from the open to the close, and we can see that price just came into the value area low here, and we started to bounce. Hold on, let me make sure this is right. Okay, so we have the value area high, we have the point of control, and we have the value area low. So price just came down into the value area low here and started to hold. So maybe we can expect price to trade up to this point of control, which it already did, not too big of a move at all. And maybe we could potentially target the value area high as well. But you can see that you can just pull this on pretty much any time frame and sort of understand where the price is going to head. We can literally just, you can use volume profile on pretty much any time frame. We have a higher time frame sort of like range on gold right here. We can pull the volume profile. It tells us where the value area low is, where the point of control is, and where the value area high is. We can see that price traded down to the value area low earlier in the week, and then price moved back up towards the point of control, didn't tap it exactly, and now we're coming back down. So we can just use these areas that, okay, if price trades to the value area high, we might have a higher chance of coming down to the point of control. Same thing for the value area low, higher chance of coming to the point of control. And then we can also use these areas as key confirmation closes, whether we want to lose whatever region we have marked out. And then we can use previous regions, value area high and value area low, as support and resistance zones to potentially take trades off it. You'll see me use this sometimes. I don't use this too often, but I think it's just key to understanding. So go practice this on the charts, low time frame, high time frame, and I'll see you guys in the next video.